Hello everyone. In this video, this is going to be the third of our series regarding the whiteboard or the virtual whiteboard and how to make the most out of it on your PMP exam experience. Now, in our other two videos, we've talked about some of these items already, but I'm just going to reinforce them here. Don't freak out thinking it's going to take forever. We've shown you shortcuts in some of the other two videos. I've kept things up on this dry erase board, so we will have put a process table, a network diagram, listing paths, listing slack, and now we're going to add earn value to it and hopefully be able to fit it all in there. So just adjust, adapt. They're not going to change it for you, so make the most of it. You heard me say already, don't try to draw a masterpiece. Focus on functionality. If I were making a graphic for a book, it'd be nice and pretty. If I were making a graphic for a test, it probably would look like I'd been drinking a little much. But as long as I can interpret what I'm putting there, that's the key. We're going to make extensive use of the text boxes as we do the earn value example here. We also did that with the process table, and then with the network diagram we used text boxes and lines. So in this case it's primarily going to be text boxes. Now, one thing to remember, it seems when you leave a text box you can't get back into it. So we might be stringing some numbers together, some letters and numbers together when we do earn value here. Now, the hyperlink, pearsonview.com, etc., if that all of a sudden isn't any good anymore, I suggest you Google Pearson View and virtual whiteboard, and assuming it's still available, it should pull it up for you. If they do give you laminated sheets at the test center, which some apparently are doing, don't be afraid to use it. But if you have a big dry erase marker and you're trying to copy a bunch of very precise stuff, you're only going to be able to do so much. So what we're going to talk about in this video could apply to earn value, communication channels, expected monetary value, point of total assumption, or any other sort of thing where there might be some numbers involved. So let's look at what we've got here. Okay, so I've got my problem here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll down a little so I can get access to my numbers, or my text box, and what I'm going to do here is this. Click. Okay. So I see I have an earned value calculation question, so I'm going to do this. AC, EV, PV, BAC. And I'm going to get those numbers in there to begin with. So let's see. Spent 5,000, so I'm just going to say 5K. Earned value, let's see, not there yet. Budget at completion. Okay, 5 days at $1,500 a day. That is going to be $7,500. Okay, and then okay, earned value. So I've done 30% of 7,500, and so if I think about it, I'm going to break out my calculator, and so what do I have there? 30% of 7,500. So I'm going to do 0.3 times 7,500, 2250. So I'm going to go up there, 2250. And I'm going to look at plan value. I'm just going to populate it to populate it. I don't need it here, but for our purposes, I'll show you. After 3 days, that's my timeline. So after 3 days, how much should I have done? Well, if I should have done 1,500 a day of work, I can say I should have done 4,500 at 1,500 a day over 3 days. Now, I'm going to do another time box over here, or another text box. The Agilist in me was coming out there saying time box. So I'm going to do CPI. And because I know that I got to have the CPI and the EAC to get TCPI. So I'm just going to go ahead and populate there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2250, I'm going to divide it by 4,500. It gets me 0.5. So I'm going to put 0.5. Now, estimate at completion, That's going to be my 7,500 divided by 0.5. And that means I'm on pace to need 15K to finish this project, or 15,000. Wow. That's not good for a $7,500 project. And my estimate at completion then would be my 15,000 estimate at completion minus what I've actually spent, which is, and I did something wrong there. So let's see, because I'm getting ready to have 10,000 and that doesn't add up. So let's do a quick sanity check here, because stuff happens. And if this was a perfect, pretty video, I want you to not freak out if something happens. So 5,000 spent, 30% of 7,500, 2,250, through 3 days, 4,500. That seems right so far. So my CPI was wrong. Okay, 2,250 divided by 5,000. There we go, 0.45. Sanity check your numbers. So I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to put 0.45. So 7,500 divided by 0.45. That's 16,000, etc. Now that said, I'm just going to put 16.6K for our purposes here. And I can take and subtract what I've actually spent so far, which is 5,000. So 16.6K minus 5,000 gets me about 11.6K or 11.6 thousand. There is my answer. Now, that's still a lot of space. And you know what? Let's get creative over here. Let me give you a little value add. I hadn't planned on this because I figured it would take up more space. Let's say you have PM has 5 people on a project. Now, instead of typing a question, this would be where you would be typing your work. But I'm just going to type that for reference. So what I would do, I'd come in here, well, PM has 5, so if it were number of channels, if that's what I was asked, I could go, well, PM and 5 is 6, so 6 times 5, and I'm going to not get too sexy with brackets here. Yeah, I should have brackets around that, and I know some of you are going, well, you have to have it around the 6 times 5, because if not, it's going to mess up the formula. I know the brackets should be there. So 30, 6 times 5 is 30, divided by 2, that gets me 15 channels. Look at that. And we still got a lot of space left over. How's that? Now, you were worried about how do I use this dry erase board. So we got a process table, we got a network diagram using text boxes and lines, and this is just one big text box in an earlier video. We got a text box here with paths and duration. We got the slack for each task. We've got the adjustment when BDG slipped from 12 days to 14 days, our new critical path. We got earned value down here, which short of TCPI, this is about the most complex calculation they could give you for earned value. And then we even have a communication channels formula here. I'm not going to say this is easier than paper, but you practice it, you follow what we do in the videos here. The whiteboard should not be an issue come test time. So if you have any thoughts, questions on this, feel free to shoot me an email, info@crosswindpm.com. Any other videos that we might be able to do that could help you, help you get ready for that exam, we're more than happy to. Anyway, that's it. Rest easy. Hopefully you feel like you got a little weight off your shoulders with that. Thank you.